Another day of protests have paralyzed much of downtown Santiago, Chile. Tensions in the city remain high as thousands of demonstrators continue to flood the streets. Victor Santibanes is a professional driver. He hasn't participated in the protests, but he shares the frustrations of demonstrators.
I have my own vehicle and I work with dignity and abide by the law. But what has that meant for me? It's meant throwing my money away in taxes. If I don't pay my share, I could lose my house. But not that big businessman. They don't pay, and then they get bailed out. What about me?
Since the weekend, protests have continued to intensify. Every day, it seems more sectors of society are joining in the demonstrations. On Tuesday evening, Chilean President Sebastian PINERA announced a national plan to improve social programs in an effort to calm the unrest.
This situation of inequity, abuse, has led to a genuine and sincere movement on behalf of millions and millions of Chileans. I recognize and demand forgiveness for the lack of vision.
Social analysts like Manuel believe the unrest is part of a growing movement of young people who he says are rejecting the very notion of Chile's political system.
There is a commonality among the demonstrators, the theme of calling for equality and denouncing abuse, but also the possibility of a better future. The perspective people have today is that things are bad now, but the future will be even worse for their children.
Apart from anger over growing inequality, protesters have also denounced a heavy-handed crackdown by police and armed forces against peaceful protesters. A state of emergency and a military-enforced curfew remains in effect here in the Chilean capital for the fourth day in a row. That means thousands of the city's residents are forced to return to their homes every day before sunset or run the risk of being arrested for a curfew violation. More than 5,400 people have been arrested nationwide since the start of the crisis, with thousands of protesters continuing to defy curfew and declaring a national strike for the coming days. That number is sure to rise. Manuel Rapalo, Al Jazeera, Santiago, Chile.